Hey everyone, Shaq here for episode 1 of For Love of the Raid. What I want to do in this episode is just quickly tell you a little bit about the podcast, a little bit about who I am, and a little bit about what the focus is going to be and what you can expect from future episodes and all that kind of stuff. So first thing is a really quick introduction. My name is Shaq. I've been playing Classic, more specifically World of Warcraft, on and off for I don't know, 20 years, maybe a little bit less than 20 years. Started mostly in original at the end of vanilla. So I never actually raided at level 60 in vanilla. Got deep into it in TBC, raided a fair amount in TBC, raided a fair amount in Wrath. Played a little bit of Cataclysm and then kind of dipped off. And then from there, it was kind of the classic, like, jump in, play for a little bit, jump out for the next many expansions. I'm not a big retail guy, to be honest, and I never really got fully immersed into the game after that until, of course, the re-release of Classic. So when Classic came out again, I don't remember, maybe it was like 2019, 2020, I actually took a fair amount of involvement in the hardcore scene. So when hardcore was up and coming, wasn't even official yet, I was doing a lot of hardcore. I actually missed the re-release of Classic. I didn't play much of that until it got to TBC. When TBC was re-released, TBC just holds a special place in my heart. And so when it was being re-released, jumped back in with some friends, experienced TBC for that second time. And then when Wrath came out, I played a fair amount of Wrath as well, up until kind of like partway through Ulduar, where, real life kind of kicked in and I wasn't as interested in, the super hard Ulduar stuff and the Trial of the Crusader and ICC. I just wasn't as interested and was a little bit busier IRL, to be honest. And I didn't take much part in that. And then again, I didn't care to take part in Cataclysm or MOP. But now that it's been re-released, number one, still continue to jump in and out, mostly playing hardcore and classic era. But once they re-released and we got the anniversary realms, I've jumped back in again. Now, the other thing I want to say is, as much as I love playing the game and continue to jump in and out, just talking about it is super fun, right? Telling stories of past, comparing these re-releases to experiences from old releases, all that kind of stuff. So a big part of the show is going to be obviously talking about what we're doing and playing right now, but also talking about, last time during this phase we did this, and remember the story of that. So kind of like sharing those experiences, because I find as much as it's fun to play the game, it's so much fun to just talk about the game with other people as well, right? Which sounds kind of weird, but it makes such good content and just a lot of fun to talk about the long history that some of us have had with this game. The other thing I'll mention is 99% of my time playing this game has been as warrior. So a lot of my takes and opinions will kind of lean that way, although now that we're in anniversary and I'm doing it again, I'm actually playing Feral Druid. So the reason I'm giving you this context is like, we're going to be having a lot of hopefully future episodes, and obviously everyone they lean certain ways, or, they're opinionated in some ways. I've always been more of the physical damage, kind of like melee type player. I've mostly played warrior. But on this anniversary, I didn't want to do, TBC, for example, a third time as a warrior. So I decided to go Feral Druid. So just giving you the perspective, kind of number one, the experience of what classes I've liked to play. And number two, I've definitely got more of a physical damage dealer, tank, and like warrior DPS type vibe. Like I said, this time about to hit 60, and I plan on tanking at 60 and 70. 60, I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep you posted because, feral druids or tank druids, I should say, at 60 are good, but like not necessarily the best. So I hope to do some like hybrid tanking, maybe some DPS. Heck, maybe if it's hard to get a tank spot, even try out some healing. I've never really healed in raids before. I've mostly been tank and like I said, melee DPS. So maybe I'll dip into that a little bit, but definitely the plan for TBC is to be a big bear tank. So again, just giving you a little bit of background about who I am, the classes I play, stuff like that. What I want to do for the show, and maybe before I jump into that, I'll give you a quick explanation of the name of the show, For Love of the Raid. And I don't know why this kind of hit me. I'm a sports guy as well, grew up playing a lot of baseball, football, basketball, stuff like that. And there's a famous baseball movie called For Love of the Game. And because I'm so PvE oriented, I'm not a big PvPer. If you love PvP, if you're looking to listen about PvP, might not be the show for you, just FYI. Although I will have guests and we might talk about it a little bit. But just letting you know, I don't know why that name kind of stuck at, for love of the game, for love of the raid. I love raiding, and it just kind of stuck. So that's kind of the inspiration. Maybe if you're looking for a good baseball movie, go check it out. But that's where the name comes from. And just to let you know about what I want to do with the show, I think it'll be a mix of like solo episodes and then a lot of guests, like having other people on, talking about our last week in WoW. So like, hey, what'd you get up to last week? What dungeons did you run? What raids did you run? Any funny stories, any good loot? Let's talk about that, stuff like that. Reminiscing on stories of the past that maybe relate to it. And then having guests on too to talk about other cool topics. For example, episode 2 that I've already recorded had a few of my best buds on to discuss our respective top 5 dungeons. So what are our top 5 favorite dungeons from classic WoW, and seeing the different perspectives and the discussions that ensue, and hopefully you'll be able to listen to those and give your opinion, or figure out who you agree with or who you don't agree with. The last thing I'll say is we definitely want this to be more of a community vibe. Like, number one, my focus is to just put out an interesting podcast with interesting conversation that you'll obviously enjoy listening to. The other part is we do have a guild, so if you like what you hear and you want to join that community, feel free to check us out on Dream Scythe US. So we're on the US servers, Dream Scythe server. It is PvE. Again, like I said, I'm not really a PvPer. And so if you're looking for a guild or a community, that sort of thing. And then obviously share your opinions and thoughts and all that cool stuff too. Like, we'll be talking about fun topics. Please make sure that you're subscribed, whether you're, listening on YouTube or a different podcast platform. Make sure you're on the Substack, because then you'll get an email every time a new episode goes out. You can also comment or respond to the emails if you want to send me feedback or have questions or anything like that. And then probably lastly is, if you have a really good idea and you want to come on as a guest, if you're as passionate about the game as we are, and maybe you have a fun idea for a topic that you think would make a great podcast episode, feel free to reach out. Again, the easiest way is to drop a comment or make sure you're on my Substack, because if you're on the Substack, you'll get emails every time a new episode goes live, and you can actually hit reply to that email and just send me an email. I'm a real person. I check every email. I don't have a, VA or assistant checking all that stuff. So if you're super passionate about the game, maybe you have an idea for a topic or a listicle or something that you think would make for a great episode, reach out, let me know, and I'll see what I can do. So anyways, that's kind of it. I wanted to keep this first episode short, just tell you a little bit about who I am, what the name of this podcast means, and the different angles I'm thinking of taking and stuff like that. Hopefully you enjoy it. Like I said, make sure you're at the very least subscribed on your favorite podcast platform. And then also make sure you're subscribed on Substack, because every time a new episode comes out, you'll get that email notification. And they have some pretty good interaction features, like you can comment, you can like, all that kind of stuff too. I'll put a link to that in the description below, whether you're watching this on YouTube or on your favorite podcast platform. So thanks again for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Stay tuned for future awesome episodes, and looking forward to growing. Take care, have a good one, and I'll see you in the next episode.